Results of government lab tests on black particles in Queens Hill Estate tap water expected later this week. A surge in concert ticket scam over the past 2 weeks. And in South Korea, Lee Jae-myung sworn in as the country's new president. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Residents of Fanling's Queens Hill Estate and Shanghai Court in Fanling have been plagued with black particles in their tap water over the past week. Today, Secretary for Development Bernadette Lin said local residents report an improvement with the situation after authorities cleaned the housing estate's water tanks. The government laboratory is conducting tests on the black particles, and results are due to be out within this week. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Minds were eased as residents on the upper floors of housing blocks at Queens Hill Estate no longer noticed black particles in their tap water this morning. Residents of the housing estate and Shanghai Court in the same area have found the mysterious particles in drinking water since late last week. Secretary for Development Bernadette Lin responded to the situation, saying the Water Supplies Department has been tasked with cleaning the state's water pipes and tanks. She added residents have noted improvement in the tap water since the measures were taken. As for the origin and content of the black particles, the government said it remains unsure. Lin said the particles have been sent to the government laboratory for further analyses, with the results set to come out this week. Authorities initially believed the particles are debris that flaked off the interior of the water pipes, but the housing department stressed it found no irregularities with the infrastructure. The Secretary for Development, while emphasizing her understanding of residents' concerns, echoed authorities' earlier statement that the water is safe for consumption. Some local residents criticized the government for its efficiency in dealing with the water problem. This man said the government is too slow and that they should speed up efforts to let locals know the source of the black particles. While this woman said authorities should just stop supplying water for 1 day to perform a thorough check on the water supply systems. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The police received around 200 complaints involving concert ticket scams over the past 2 weeks, with a total value of more than $1 million. Some lawmakers suggested the government listen to organizers' requests for increasing the number of tickets. Authorities said victims of concert ticket scams lost an average of more than $8,000 each. Concerts held by popular Singaporean singer J.J. Lin at Kai Tak and Taiwanese singer Jay Chou at the end of this month saw 33 and 23 fans, respectively, fall victim to similar scams. The police's National Security Department has filed charges against a man arrested in connection with bomb threats targeting central government offices and the Kai Tak Sports Park. The 35-year-old suspect faced 4 counts of bomb hoax when he appeared in Kwun Tong Magistrates Court this afternoon. The court adjourned the case until the end of next month to allow further investigation by the police. The accused remains in custody, but the defense reserves the right to apply for a review over the bail issue. South Korea's new president, Lee Jae-myung, has vowed to restart dormant talks with North Korea and bolster a trilateral partnership with the U.S. and Japan. Lee, who rose from childhood poverty, formally began his term today, hours after winning a snap election triggered by the removal of predecessor Yoon Suk-yeol over his ill-fated imposition of martial law. President Xi Jinping congratulated Lee on his win. Nasty Kareem with more.
Before his inauguration, South Korea's new President Lee Jae-myung visited the National Cemetery in Seoul. With his wife Kim Hye-kyung, Lee paid tribute to those who fought in the War of Independence and the Korean War and former leaders of the country. He then took the oath, vowing to repair South Korea after a chaotic 6 months, sparked by December's ill-fated martial law declaration that led to the impeachment and ousting of predecessor Yoon Suk-yeol. Liberal Lee scored a decisive victory over conservative rival Kim Moon-soo, earning 49.42% of the votes. Kim took 41.15%, with around 35 million people casting their ballots in Tuesday's snap election. Lee was among those who leapt over barricades and dodged soldiers to enter parliament and blocked Yoon's martial law decree in December. Here he is in January 2024, leaving hospital after being stabbed in the neck when he was opposition leader. A school dropout turned lawyer, Lee was born into poverty, enduring a difficult childhood, including a stint as an underage labourer. After some failed forays into politics, Lee broke through by being elected Seongnam mayor in 2010. From 2018 to 2021, he served as governor of Gyeonggi province, surrounding Seoul, before emerging as the leader of the opposition, narrowly losing to Yoon in the 2022 presidential election. Lee has promised to revive democracy and the economy at a time when Seoul is still trying to deal with US President Donald Trump's tariff policies. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio congratulated Lee on his win, but others in Washington are concerned about his intention to balance relations with US and China. While the US says the election was free and fair, Reuters quoted an unnamed official as saying the White House remained concerned and opposed to Chinese interference in democracies around the world. Lee says he will bolster ties with the US and Japan while also pursuing talks with North Korea, saying peace with no need to fight is the best security. Pyongyang and Seoul have not engaged in talks since 2019. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba congratulated Lee and said he hopes for an early summit between the two leaders. Many South Koreans hope Lee can help the country move on from the chaos caused by martial law. This 22-year-old student said the president must revive the economy and unify the public, still confused by the effects of Yoon's martial law debacle. Businessman Jong Min-doo said he wants Lee to get rid of the remnants of martial law and boost the economy. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
President Xi Jinping has met Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko in Beijing, praising the country as a true friend of China. Xi urged a close ally of Russia to join Beijing in opposing hegemony and bullying, with Belarus among the countries hit by Western sanctions. Xi, greeting Lukashenko in Zhongnanhai, the seat of power in Beijing, congratulated him on his re-election, adding that China and Belarus were true friends and good partners. Lukashenko's visit to Beijing is his first since he was declared a winner of January's presidential election that extended his 31-year rule of the former Soviet Republic. Western governments have rejected his victory as a sham. The Belarusian economy has been bruised by sanctions and trade tariffs because of its backing of Russia's war in Ukraine. Minsk allowed Russian forces to use its territory to stage its invasion of Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump has doubled tariffs on imports of aluminium, steel, and their derivatives from 25% to 50%, starting today. The hike has intensified trade tensions ahead of an early July deadline for reciprocal tariff talks with trading partners of the United States. Danny Zhou has the story.
Donald Trump signed an executive proclamation late on Tuesday to raise import taxes on steel and aluminium for the second time since March. The new levies kicked in at midday Hong Kong time. Trump stated that the measures are intended to counter foreign countries that continue to offload low-priced excess steel and aluminium in the U.S. market, which he claimed would undercut the country's competitiveness in those sectors. Data from the U.S. Department of Commerce showed the country imported $31.3 billion worth of iron and steel in 2024. The increased tariffs would be a serious blow to Canada and Mexico, which ranked first and third respectively in shipment volumes of steel to the United States. Though disappointed about the tariffs, Ontario Premier Doug Ford said he thinks Canada and the US are getting very close to sign a positive deal. This after Ford wrapped up meetings with the US Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. Mexico's economy minister, who will travel to Washington on Friday for meetings with US officials, called the new tariffs unfair and unsustainable. He said Mexico will ask the Trump administration for steel tariff exemption. The new rate applies to nearly all trading partners of the US, but tariffs on steel and aluminium imports from the United Kingdom will remain at 25% because it is the only nation so far that has reached a preliminary trade agreement with Washington. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative is pushing several countries for best offers by Wednesday. Trading partners were asked to list their best proposals on key aspects, such as tariff and quota offers for U.S. industrial and agricultural products, non-tariff barrier solutions, and commitments on digital trade. According to a statement, beginning July the 9th, the U.S. government may adjust the applicable tariff rates and introduce import quotas for steel and aluminium articles based on the terms of the Economic Prosperity Deal, or EPD. If the UK fails to meet relevant provisions of the EPD, the tariff rate on its steel and aluminium articles will be raised to 50% as well. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Concern is growing that the threat of a global trade war may drag down the American housing market. Some local developers have expressed concerns, while others believe U.S. tariff policies have created a scenario conducive to purchasing property. Samantha Lee tells us more.
Andy Fung, president of a real estate development venture in the San Francisco Bay Area, said the U.S. trade war led to a surge in construction costs, resulting in a halt in the new development projects. He said most of the lumber needed for building houses was imported from Canada. As a consequence of the tariff rate on Canadian goods, he noted that a piece of lumber now sells for $12 compared to $10 before the tariff hike, causing a 10 to 20% rise in construction cost. Given that U.S. mortgage rates are still considered high, he said many buyers will remain prudent and delay their purchase. He added that many enterprises recently initiated layoffs because of the downward demand in consumption. Holding a different point of view was Jiang Cheng, a real estate agent in the San Francisco Bay Area, who said the property market here was not as bad as portrayed by outsiders. She noted there was at least one transaction every 2 weeks in the property market. She said owing to recent fluctuation in the stock market, many investors would rather buy a property to avoid risks. She added that the assessed value will go up while stock may dramatically slump just because of a comment by the U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump made his name as a real estate tycoon and suffered a number of bankruptcies. Many local developers are taking a cautious approach, eager to see if Trump can make the property market great again. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Billionaire Tesla CEO Elon Musk has slammed U.S. President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill of tax breaks and spending cuts, calling it a disgusting abomination. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Elon Musk's comments on his social media platform X came just days after U.S. President Donald Trump gave him a celebratory Oval Office farewell. That marks the end of his work for the administration, where he spearheaded the Department of Government Efficiency. Musk wrote, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." The legislation, which has passed the U.S. House of Representatives and is currently under debate in the Senate, would curtail subsidies that benefit Tesla, Musk's electric automaker. The tech billionaire followed his criticism with a threat aimed at Republicans. In another X post, Musk wrote in November next year, "We fire all politicians who betrayed the American people." The comments mark a sharp shift in tone. Musk, the world's richest person, spent at least $250 million supporting Trump's campaign last year. He previously pledged to help defeat Republican lawmakers deemed insufficiently loyal to Trump. Now he's suggesting voting them out if they advance the president's legislative priority. However, it's unclear how Musk will follow through on his criticism. He recently said he would spend a lot less on political campaigns, though he left the door open to political involvement. Analysts say it's not helpful to have Musk criticizing the legislation, but don't expect lawmakers to side with him over Trump. The White House press secretary said President Trump will stick with the bill despite the criticism from Musk.
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
Dan Royal, TV News.
And still ahead, another cinema in Hong Kong will be shut down next Monday. And in Macau, casinos throw away 15,000 tons of playing cards every day. Now researchers trying to turn them into usable materials. Welcome back. Senior Ukrainian officials visited Washington Tuesday to seek U.S. support against Russia while accusing Moscow of dragging its feet at peace talks. This as Moscow's top security official Sergei Shoigu arrived in Pyongyang to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to discuss the situation in Ukraine. Meanwhile, a Russian rocket attack targeted the Ukrainian city of Sumy, killing at least 4 people and wounding 25, while Ukraine used explosives to damage a bridge that links Russia with Crimea. Tracy Furness reports.
The International Atomic Agency, or IAEA, said there is no evidence of Russia moving to restart the occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
We are aware of some information about that, not coming from Russia, but from other experts and groups in the world, indicating that there are some construction works that would indicate that. It's highly speculative. We don't have any evidence that this is happening at this point.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF, will halt handing out food at least for a day as it presses Israel to boost civilian safety beyond its distribution sites. This after dozens of Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire while trying to collect aid. Israel says they were encroaching dangerously close, while GHF said the people were well beyond their working areas. An Israeli military spokesperson warned civilians against moving in areas near GHF sites, deeming them combat zones. The United Nations is against the GHF project, saying the organization is not neutral, adding that it's unacceptable that civilians were killed seeking food. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council is also set to vote today on the demand for a ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian group Hamas. They will also call for humanitarian access across Gaza, where aid has trickled amid chaos and bloodshed. Golden Harvest Megabox announced today that the venue will shut down on the 9th of June. It will become the 6th cinema in the city to close down this year. The cinema chain said the coming Sunday will be the theater's last operating day, when moviegoers can watch blind box movie screenings and IMAX movies at $40. Additionally, the cinema will roll out deals for designated snacks and products. Golden Harvest will have only 4 cinemas left under its management, located in Taipo, Tumun, Olympian City, and Shaoquan. The Chinese University of Hong Kong has successfully developed 2 new sustainable technologies. They include a pioneering battery-free wireless keyboard, which clinched a gold medal with congratulations of the jury at this year's International Exhibition of Inventions, Geneva. Miriam Lynch reports.
This is the first ever fully operational wireless and battery-free keyboard. Its innovative design was awarded a gold medal at the 50th Geneva International Exhibition of Inventions. With each keystroke, this device harvests kinetic energy, converting it into electrical power that allows the keyboard to operate and transmit signals. The innovation was designed by a research team from the Department of Mechanical and Automation Engineering at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. By eliminating battery use and reducing waste, this innovation demonstrates the possibility of promoting sustainability in the design of everyday electronic devices. The keyboard offers a stable and self-sufficient solution for users, in contrast with other sustainable alternatives such as solar-powered devices, which are limited by light availability and may not be suitable for all environments. The research team also developed a battery-free smart insole, which provides continuous real-time gait monitoring to support enhanced sports rehabilitation as well as early disease detection. It was awarded a bronze medal at this year's Geneva International Exhibition of Inventions.
These 2 particular, application, and it could be extended to other applications as well. We also can utilize this technology to monitor the machine health instead of the human health. So that's another thing. It's kind of related concept. It's also kinetic energy, and then we can get the energy from the motion and from vibration, kinetic energy, and convert it to electrical energy.
The research team hopes to roll out their product into the market within 1 year and explore more applications in different domains. Miriam Lynch, TVB News.
In Macau, discarded playing cards dealt a new hand as recycled paper. This as a local startup is working on a green solution to upcycle the tens of tons of cards casinos throw away every day. Macau is known for its gambling industry, boasting some 30 casinos of all sizes across the city. With thousands of gaming tables here, just how many cards are used every day? Some environmental advocates estimate Macau's 6 major gaming operators tossed away 15,000 tons of playing cards last year, given each deck weighing about 80 to 90 grams. That's nearly 500,000 decks of playing cards discarded every day. At Macau's Gaming Expo, experts demonstrate how card games are played. To prevent cheating at games like blackjack, once dealt, the cards will not be reused. This environmental advocate said burning the playing cards will result in carbon dioxide emission and worsen global warming, so they hope to upcycle them into useful or even beautiful paper product. University of Macau has set up a renewable lab to study ways to recycle playing cards. Its project researchers said the cars come with a plastic layer on both sides with a piece of cardboard in the middle. Casino-grade cars even contain RFID chips embedded in the center for security checking. Researchers in the lab start by putting water into a beaker, then adding shredded playing cards. A machine is activated to separate the paper from the plastic. The pulp is then extracted, filtered, and dried. After about 10 minutes, out comes the recycled paper. The team hopes when the technology matures, it can set up a recycling plant capable of repurposing all of Macau's discarded casino playing cards into new reusable materials. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.